think I've become a grumpy old man. Now, the reason I say that is because I feel I've become less tolerant of people and people's actions over time. Now, I'm not going to say that I was always a very tolerant person. When somebody did something that I considered to be an a-hole move, well, I did make a comment about it. I have, as I've said before, I don't have a very good filter. But you would think as you grow older and a little bit, hopefully, wiser, you might be a little less the kind of person who jumps off the handle, flies off the handle at something someone says or something does, and you can just dismiss it and go, well, is it really going to change the price of rice in China? And I thought I was working towards that kind of way of looking at life in my retirement. I don't think I've made it quite there yet. Now, I used to joke before I retired that I was going to age, and as I aged, I was going to be a grumpy old man. I saw myself as a guy with a beard and a cane. Well, I'm partway there, standing in the express checkout in a grocery store, and the person ahead of me had 11 items, which was one over the number they're supposed to check out with, and I'd be tapping them with my cane and saying, "Can't you read? Hey, Sonny, get to the back of the line. Go to another cashier. Don't be like that." Well, I've actually become that old man, I think. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I was at a retreat on the weekend, and there was one individual there that didn't seem to have anything nice to say about anything. She was always criticizing everything. If it was the food or the environment we were in or how somebody else was behaving or what they were saying, this person had something to say about that. And all of these comments made by the person all had to do with her own personal preferences. It was all me kind of thing. To give you an example, there was one lady who was a very chatty, social person. Actually, she was a little bit annoying because she was constantly circulating amongst everybody and chatting to them about this and that. And she was a lady who was very well read and had a lot of information about a variety of subjects, and she was very willing to share it with you, even when you didn't ask to have it shared. She made a comment at a dinner table, and it was a comment that was, well, probably not the best kind of thing to discuss during, well, while you're eating. And this other person said so, and said it in no uncertain terms. Now, the person who was getting into this discussion or had started this discussion had done it not to be rude or to gross people out. She just was the kind of person who she had this piece of trivia was in her head and she wanted to share it. But the other lady did not feel that it was appropriate for the dinner table, and I have to agree with her, it probably was not. And the other lady did not get the hint. So this other person made it a very much a point to tell her not to talk about this. This upset the lady who brought up the point. It upset her to tears. And it became a very embarrassing situation. Now, for just a moment, I wanted to reach across the table and grab this other person who had said this was inappropriate for the table and grab her by the throat. I didn't. I held back on that. Well, I wouldn't have done that anyways, but I wanted to say something because I realized that the person who brought up the topic did not really think ahead about how other people might react to something like that during dinner. And I did agree with the lady who said this was not appropriate because, yeah, it wasn't appropriate at the time. But it was the tone that she used and the way she attacked the other person. And this was just keeping with her personality. She attacked everything on that weekend. And it was like the whole world had to revolve around her. She was a crotchety old lady, basically. And it was bringing out the crotchety old man in me. But I held back from that. And this has got me reflecting on this kind of thing that, you know, the simplest things can get my knickers in a knot. And I don't want to be that way. But, I'm constantly finding fault with companies, for example, that I deal with online who don't live up to my expectations. Okay, it's all about me at that point, just like the lady at the table. Um, I start to nitpick. Well, really, why am I doing that? I should be more tolerant. I shouldn't have a problem with these things. They're not major life shattering, world changing things that are happening here. It's just me. So I'm not being very tolerant. I'm finding that people are annoying me more these days. They're people I don't even know. I have no idea why they're doing what they're doing or why they're saying what they're saying. There could be a variety of reasons that come from their own life, things that have affected them. It is not my place to correct them or criticize them at all. But in my head, I am doing that. And on some occasions, I've actually, well, have done the same thing as this lady did at the table. And that's not good. That's how you create conflict. And it's conflict over nothing. So I need to get a grip on those kind of things. I need to be a little more tolerant. I need to stop and think before I act or before I say something that could be hurtful to somebody else or could be based upon a lack of knowledge about their situation in life, about their background, where they're coming from. It is not all about me. So I don't want to be a grumpy old man. I want to be a man who thinks about what he says or what he's about to do, that has a little bit of compassion for more people out there, for the situation they might be living through, and really start picking the mountain you want to die on. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill, so to speak. A lot of little euphemisms here in the whole bit, right? But I guess basically it's saying there's enough conflict in the world. I don't need to contribute to it just because I'm a grumpy old man. So I will have to think about it and try and do the best that I can.